Okay, in this video we're taking a quick look at this character that was submitted by a customer, and basically going to do a little bit of troubleshooting and kind of try to give a little bit of advice on how to better rig your characters. So the first thing I noticed with this character is that the pivot points are all over the place. I mean, I'm sure there's pivot points here. I mean, it's just a matter of layering. So if I turn on the outline mode, I can see the pivot points that are there. So I'm just going to go ahead and quickly select these. I don't need that. Not sure what this are. And let's see here. Control X, paste in place, and now we can see them. There's more throughout the character there. But like one of the things that kind of does strike me right away is that we're missing a head pivot, a nud here, one of the blue square pivots, and I don't see it anywhere in here, so it might be missing. Also, there's certain things that are kind of like red flags here. For example, this pivot point here should really be, let me see here, this is the right forearm. So this pivot belongs to this item here. So this one belongs here somewhere. This one is for the right hand, so this one belongs here somewhere. And let's see here, what's this one? That's the right arm, so this one should be like right here. So basically the pivot points are the places where the character will rotate around. Okay, so in this case, let's see here, placing the pivot point there, you are basically telling Crazy Talk that you want this body part to rotate along this section, so that inside of Crazy Talk this pivot point will rotate like this. And this is another thing you got to keep an eye on when you're designing these characters. This is a really well designed character as far as the design is concerned. It's a very beautiful looking character, but in terms of the body mechanics and stuff, it's not very well designed, because as you can see here, when I rotate this limb up, I got this jagged edge right here, this here, and this really crazy jagged edge right there. So the body parts really need to be uh, in and of themselves designed in a way that they maybe rotate, or they rotate better. So like maybe by putting the pivot point up there, we have a little bit less of a gap there, but we should fill this in a little bit more. So that's how you kind of decide where you want your pivot points to be and stuff like that. And let's see here. I guess that would be your front hair, yeah. And see, that's another thing right here. Where's the rest of his head? I mean, for the head, I don't think I would worry too much, because you don't normally animate these things going in and out and stuff like that, so you probably will never really notice that there's a huge gap there. But you might run into issues with that. Let's see here, the neck. Okay, yeah, these body parts do not interconnect with each other. So I'm gonna give you a few quick tips on how to better rig your own characters and how to better design your body parts so that they work better. In terms of their body mechanics and stuff. Let's see if we can get rid of all these pivots. Now, one of the things that I do notice is that this character is pretty symmetrical. So this arm and this arm are pretty much the same. This leg and this leg are pretty much the same. I don't see any difference. It's like a stripe here, but I think that's more of a just, something got misplaced there. Um, so you can also save some time by having multiple instances of a same symbol when you're doing symmetrical items. Let's see here. Okay. Alright, so it looks like I got rid of all the pivot points. Let's clean it out a little bit more. Let's see here. Control A will select everything, and we'll go to the Puppet Producer panel. Where is it? Oh, it's right there. We're going to use the eraser tool while everything's selected to make sure that there's no instances labeled anymore. Alright. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to try to do is I'm going to try to recreate this character using a little bit better uh, a little bit better of an approach, a little bit more efficient. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to get rid of this arm and this hand, because this one is pretty much the same. This is already a symbol. Let me see here. Symbol 98, okay? So that works pretty good for me. Let's see here. Instance. Okay. And this is also a symbol, so we're good. This one, and this one, we'll get rid of that. Alright, so we'll Control D, modify, transform, flip horizontal. We'll just kind of do that. That way this leg and this leg are pretty much the same. We'll take this one, Control D, modify, transform, flip horizontal. Alright, that'll work. I hope. Okay, we'll have to fix that. Alright, so this, I guess this is part of a large neck configuration. We can make that work. Yeah, we can make that work like that. Let's see, this is the torso and the lower torso. Alright, so as far as the limbs are concerned, those are fine. This stuff here, maybe, let's see here. If you get the rectangle tool, you can actually add rounded corners by using the up and down arrows as you place your shape. I don't know what I just did. There we go. Alrighty. That kind of cleans that up a bit. Okay, so let's see here. Yeah, let's go ahead and get rid of it. go to this hair section here, smoothing this out. As a matter of fact, let's just go ahead and bring this all the way out here. Okay. I don't really need to fix these. These are okay. Control D. Modify, transform, flip horizontal. We'll just replicate that right there, so we have a little bit of a cleaner. And the reason we use duplicate shapes as much as possible is because any modification that we make to the original one will also take place on any duplicate ones. So I can come in here, maybe delete that section there. See how it takes place right there? Okay. So now, let's see here. This is fine. I mean, I would probably just make this a little bit more closed. Now the other thing about this is, okay, I'm going to use my align tool, Control K, and make sure that align to stage is selected, because we want that pivot point to be at the center of most of our items, or at the place where we want the hinges to be. So it just kind of do that, and this one was perfectly fine. Let's try this one. Okay, that one's fine. The head, we want this to be like right here, because we want it to be able to rotate around this neck, or I mean, we want to be able to kind of keep the pivot, the transformation points as close to the pivot point as possible. Okay. So we're going to do that. Let's see. What else can we do? We have the eyes. Okay, that eye is fine. Nose. Eyebrows. Where's the eyebrow? There it is. Alright, this eyebrow, I'm just for the sake of symmetry, I'm going to duplicate this one, modify, transform, horizontal. Okay, so now we'll get rid of this one and we'll paste this one in place. So now any change that I make to this eyebrow happens on the other side as well. Okay, where else can we duplicate items at? Okay, well, this is all good. Let's maybe move it to the back. Move these to the front. Okay, the neck, this should be at the place where we want it to spin. Because like, if you notice this transformation point, when we try to rotate it, we want it to be able to rotate like that. So that's the kind of thing that you got to keep in mind. Let's take a look at the rotation of this neck. So you're gonna end up with these weird jagged things. All right, so let's close off this section here. let's take a look at it now. So you still end up with this weird jagged stuff. So you gotta think about these things whenever you're working on them. Okay. Not sure how much further we can push that. I mean, you may have to consider making this part of that section there. Because, I mean, given on the size of this, your character's not going to have that much of a range of motion. I mean, the most you'll be able to maybe bend the neck is like maybe that far in from here to maybe there. And that's not really a lot. So you got to consider your character's range of motion when you're designing the body parts. Okay, so now let's take a look at this arm. Well, first of all, we want this arm to be able to rotate around here. So we're going to go ahead and move the registration point to, let's see here. Actually, let's do this. Let's draw a circle. Place it right in the middle. We'll just get these and group them together. But using the align feature, I put it right there. So I'm going to take this arm and I'm going to maybe put it somewhere like that, so I can better visualize where the joint is, where it's going to rotate around, so that when it rotates, say it rotates like that. Okay. So let's see how that looks. Okay, let's see how that looks. See, it's a little bit better. Okay, so what I'm going to recommend at this point is that you go here, maybe extend this out a little bit. Gotta make sure you're, let's see here, put them on the same, paste in place. Alright, so now we have an arm that looks like that. I mean, we just kind of move it to the back a bit. See, maybe you want to align those two right there, so probably do that. Okay. So now when we rotate this arm, it's going to rotate like this. See? And you have that edge right there. And you have that top part that just kind of like pivots around. Okay. Let's see here. We're going to do the same thing with this one. So it pivots like that. See? And that's why it's important to have these base rounded off edges. See? So we want the arm to be able to pivot around and still have that curvature in the background. Okay. And this is all still on the artwork and design part. There's not so much on the Toon Titan, on the Puppet Producer side yet. Maybe right there. A little bit up, maybe. Just kind of gotta guess. Okay, so what I'm going to suggest for this one is something like this. Let's see if we can fix that. There we go. So it creates a little bit more of a natural bend. So you can have, you know, a little bit more of a natural range of movement without all the jaggy stuff. Okay. Alright, so I'm going to get rid of this. Take these. Control D to duplicate. Modify, transform, horizontal. Alright, that looks fine. Alright, so for the torso, I don't see anything else that really can be helped too much. I mean, this pivot point should probably be here at the bottom. So we're going to move it up. Now move it down again. That way when you rotate it, it rotates along this hip area. See? And notice that there's all this empty space. So in here, this needs to come up. So now it's a little bit more, you know, more natural bend there. See? Okay. Alright. Same thing with this. You need to have a base for it to spin around, or to spin around on. see. We want it to be able to spin something like this. Okay. So what we're going to do, ideally, is to create a base joint for it. Okay. Guess maybe I can bring this in like that. I don't know. But this requires a little bit more planning. Okay, so now basically we need that pivot point to be up here somewhere. Something like that. I'm not going to do too much more modifications to this. Because I think you should be able to get the idea by now. Okay. So, I mean, there's obviously going to be some issues with your shading and stuff. So maybe you can tweak the way that your character is shaded, or make it so that certain parts don't actually intersect at these points where there's like dramatic bits of shading involved. But mechanics are a little bit better. Alright, let's fix this shoe. It's just weird. might be a little bit better. Okay. Looks a lot better than before. So let's see. Yeah. Okay, let's leave it like that. We'll get rid of these. Control D. Modify, transform, horizontal. Okay, so as far as optimizing the character, this is about as much as I'm going to do for now, but there's a lot more that you can do on your end to continue to make this character a little bit more solid in the way that the body parts interact with each other. So the next step, let's see here, go ahead and move these to the back. Control D makes them go all the way down to the bottom. Okay, so now let's go ahead and do some rigging. And the rigging part is actually the easier part at this point. We're just going to go ahead and select the face. Make sure the 0 is selected. Click the face right there. Notice how we get this one where that pivot is located at. So it's going to turn along that section. That's what we wanted. I'm going to go ahead and take this pivot point, this head nut, and I'm just going to move it outside of the body for now. I'm just going to leave it up there. I'm going to select the front hair. Alright, I'm going to leave it like that. Back hair, I'm going to leave that like that. Eyebrow, the other eyebrow, the left one. We have an eye. We have another eye. We have a nose. We have a mouth. And we're pretty much done with that part for now. Neck, torso, and notice, okay, we have the pivot point right there, so that's where our pivot point is going to go automatically. See? This one is going to have a little bit of an adjustment to it. Gets placed down there. We can move it up a little bit more if we want to. The leg is going to get put right there. So we do the same thing with the other one, the foot. 1, 2. This one gets put right at the pivot point. This one at the bottom. That's perfectly fine. We can leave it just the way it is. Okay. So we got the upper arm for the right side, the forearm, the hand. And we go this side, that side, and bam. I think that is just about everything. Now we forgot the ears. Okay, let's do the other ear. Okay. Now there's a few more things that you need to take care of when it comes down to the facial features. Let's see here. Let's go ahead and take a look at the eyebrows first. Alright, so one of the things that I suggest, like with almost all facial body parts, is I suggest doing all of them first before trying to rig them. I'm going to switch to the eyebrow. So you have 18 of them to do, and right now you have one here that's normal. Alright, so I'm just going to go ahead and duplicate these all the way down to number 18. Okay, so number 2 is the shrink. Number 3 is happy. So maybe something like that. Number 4 is raise brow and shrink nose. So the brow goes up and then the nose gets shrunken. Okay, number 5 is lower the brow, which is gonna maybe two sections down. Number 6 is lower brow and shrink nose. So we're gonna lower it, 2, and then we're gonna make that nose part shrink. Alright, let's see here. Number 7 is the raise outer brow. Alright, number 8 is raise the outer brow and shrink nose. So this goes up and this goes down. Number 9 is raise outer and raise brow. So we're gonna 1, 2, raise it up, and then raise the outer even more. Okay, number 10, scared. Maybe something like this. And so on. You'll continue doing all of these. I'm not going to do all of them because, I want to keep this video under 1 hour long. But go ahead and do all of them first. And when you are done with all of them, at that point, you just click this button here. Okay? And it'll configure every single one of them. So here we have, normal. Then this one is set to shrink. Let's see, number 5 has been configured to lower the brow. Number 10 has been configured to scare. Number 20 is set up as raise inner and lower brow and shrink nose. Okay, obviously we didn't go ahead and modify that, but that's what it's been configured for. You can also do one at a time. So in here, in this case, we have the eye, and this eye has obviously not been set up, all the way. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy it, switch to the eye section. Alright, I'm going to switch to normal. I'm going to call it normal. So now it's been configured to be used as a normal eye. But the eye is different, and we're going to come back to the eye in a minute. This one, let's see here. This is one of the ones that we need to duplicate. So I'm going to copy this section here. Actually, I'm not even going to do that. I'm just going to delete this. Control D. Modify, transform, horizontal. I'm just going to do it this way. And you don't have to. I just do it this way so I can save myself time, because that way any modifications that I do to this side take place on this side. So if I were to go in here and change the shape of this eye, well, obviously the shape of that eye was going to change too. So anyways, now configuring the eye is another story altogether as well. Let me go back here and make sure this one has its own pivot point. Okay, so that's been set up. Alright, so the eye, you're going to want to go into the individual symbols again. So here is my symbol that's already been configured. That's normal 1 eye. That's the first one. And here we're going to go inside it one more time, and we have to separate these. Okay, so we're going to create a pupil. F8. Alright, call it pupil. So now we have that. Now we got to take this eye socket. Okay, and I'm going to copy it. I'm going to create a couple more layers. On the top, I'm going to paste in place. Okay, and I'm going to call this the eye socket. Alright, so I got a symbol name called mask. Okay, this is the eye socket. And you don't have to label these. This is just so you can see what I'm doing. Below that, we have what's called the image or the eye base. So we'll select that section, convert it to the eye base. You can see there that it's been converted to a symbol or a instance name named image. And we take this pupil, we're going to put it in the middle right there, in that middle. Paste in place. I'm just going to move it right there, that's fine. Okay, so we have your base, you have your pivot, and then you have your eye socket. Okay, the eye socket is just that white part, that white section. The pupil is this right here, and of course we have our image base, which is that. Alright, so now basically we just take the eye socket, convert it into a mask, and we end up with something that looks like that again. And the cool thing about this is that now that that has a mask applied to it is that you can move it around. See, notice what happens here when you're moving this around. Alright, so this is perfectly configured now, but this is just one of them. Okay, so you're gonna have to do 13 of these eyes all the way up to here. For now, I'm only gonna do this one, and it's already been labeled, so that's fine. We're gonna leave it like that. Let's go into this nose section. Gotta make sure at least one of the noses is there. Alright, click on normal. Boom. So now we have the normal nose. The mouths, you need, I believe it's like 30 mouths. Yep, 30 mouths. But for now, we're just gonna have that one. Okay, it's a normal mouth. Ears, you don't have to worry too much about. I think that's everything. So now, save this. Let's try to launch Crazy Talk. And let's take a look at this by itself. So we obviously had some conflict there with that 180 view, and we still have a conflict with the mouth and hands. So let's kind of review that real quick. Here's my mouth 0. Let's go inside, make sure that we configured that properly. It's set to normal, and that one's not correct because it needs to be normal _1, I think. Or is that for the eyes? Yeah, that's for the eyes. Alright, so that's set up right. Maybe it has something to do with the outline. Sometimes it doesn't like the way that, so you have 1.45. Let's switch that to a 2 point. Well, these little decimal points and stuff. A lot of software doesn't like these type of things. Modify shape. We're gonna also optimize a bit. Change it to let's optimize by 10. Nothing happened. Great, perfect. Either way. Now let's take this hand and make sure we have it set up as at least something. There's the relaxed pose. Export. let's take a look at it. My character open. Okay, so now we have that, and I am still missing a mouth, which I have no idea where it has gone. It might have to do with the outline thing, because I also do not see the eyebrows. So it might not like that particular style of outline. Let's see here. Commands, shape, convert lines to fills. Alright, we'll do that. We'll do that with the eyebrows too. I'm only going to do it with the first one. Actually, I can do it with all of them. I can go in here. Okay, range, all, Control A. I'll just break everything up. Okay. And then I'll use this modify shape, convert lines to fills. So now these are actual fills and not just outlines. Crazy Talk might like that better. Okay. It might actually like that a little bit better. So let's export it and see what happens. Okay, well, we got the mouth. And we forgot to reconfigure our eyebrows, and that's why that didn't come in. See, we'll just go to the eyebrows. We'll just do them all real quick. Alright, we'll export. Back into Crazy Talk. And my character, open. And, okay, so let's see what we ended up with. We have our eyebrows, we have our mouth, our nose, everything looks fine. Let's do a quick test on the basic walk. And this is perfectly normal because right now we don't have any of the other angles. If you just want to give it a quick test as far as the other angles is concerned, when you're first starting out, you can turn it into a multi-angle character. Now this doesn't really, give you anything useful, but it does give you something that's temporary for the purpose of visualizing that one angle in 3D space, I guess you can say. So you have something that looks like that. Okay, let's see here. Alright, so it looks like we're going into the 1 hour marker here. So I'm going to have to stop at some point soon. Alright, let's test this again real quick. So right now, at worst, right now we have some layering issues that can easily be fixed, and also, with your masking, your joint mask areas, you can fix those things. Let's see, facial motion.
Up, down, left, right, and some natural movement. Eyes closing.
Okay. Since we don't have all the eye shapes,
up, down,
this is not going to work very well yet until you actually have those.
and rolling.
But the eyes should be working already. I don't know why they're not working right now. Let's take a quick look inside. And let's see, normal one, okay. We have our mask, which is our eye socket. Let's see. Okay. There's our pivot point, our pupil. No, our pupil hasn't been configured, so we're gonna make sure that one is configured. Okay, so there's the pupil. And we have our image. Alright, so that's what the problem was on that one. Let's go ahead and export it one more time. And we're gonna re-import and test. Okay, we're gonna go in here.
Up,
So you can
down,
see that the pupil now
right,
actually moves.
and some natural movement. Eyes closing and blinking.
When you add your blinking and closing
Down,
states, then
left,
that will also work
right,
at that point.
and rolling. A, E, I, O, U, and meow.
Alright, you don't have the mouth symbol, so you can't really test the lip syncing just yet. So at this point, you would go and start building your other angle. So at this point, you can use the outer mirror feature to take the the front, convert it to a back, and you would do that kind of the layering and stuff, fix it so that it reflects the back angle of this character. All right, so that's basically where we're gonna stop because we've already gone past the hour, and I think this is more than enough information at this point to get you started. So hopefully this works out for you. If you have any other questions, please feel free to let me know. All right, bye.